Hey everybody, welcome back to Connerty's farm. My name is Ricky. Today we are going to be putting our trellising up on our raised beds here. I have a couple trellises that I need to cut that I have over there. I'm going to put them at the front of the raised beds here. I have some peas that I've already planted and they're up and I need to get the trellising up. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple arch trellising that we put up and then the straight trellising. Now here in Canada, we don't get the deals on cattle panel trellises like you may if you live in the States. What we will pay on average is $100, give or take. Usually it's more than $100. So having cattle panels here in Canada, if you see someone with cattle panels, they've paid a lot of money for them. I have also discovered that if I need to cut the cattle panels, that there's actually a cheaper option available. So we have a hardware store called Home Depot. And in the Home Depot, there's a section that is for masonry. So cement work, where rebar and stuff like that is. And we found these great little smaller trellises. And that's what we like to use if I need a trellising for a small area. So this is them here. So if I need to cut a cattle panel to fit a smaller area, why would I cut a $100 cattle panel when these are just over $20? Now, to buy two of them, it's still cheaper for me to buy two of these if I'm not making an arch than it is for me to buy one cattle panel and cut it in half, because these are 8 feet. So the cattle panels are 16, so two of them is actually 16 feet, but they're pre-cut for me. So I have been using these on our farm for trellising for, I want to say 3-4 summers now. And these ones, they don't rust super badly. I do have a couple that I've spray painted just because I wanted a different color. But so today I'm going to cut these two in half, because down here on the edge of my beds, you'll see here, I have my peas already up. And in the past years, I've kind of just had them go up on this post here, but it's not ideal. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut these two in half. I'm gonna put them at the end of each of my beds. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put up the rest of my trellising. I do have some arches. I don't use cattle panel arches. I'm actually using hog panels, which is essentially the same thing. It's just a little bit shorter than a cattle panel. When we moved here from our old farm, we brought our pig fencing with us, so the hog panels with us. So I already had those. So rather than spending more money on a cattle panel, I've just gone ahead and used what I already have, which is hog panels. And what I do is I'll put 2 hog panels for my arches between my beds, and you'll be able to see me go ahead and do all that. All right, let's get started. I am going to be putting my bug hat down because the black flies are out like crazy. You can see this can be a little awkward with one person. Generally, if I'm doing it myself, I will actually use my head to hold the grid in place, and I needed to grab a few extra zip ties there. So once you get the middle one in, it's a lot easier to balance it, and then you can just go ahead and put the rest of them on from there. But you can see it's pretty easy to put the zip ties on, and it's really easy to take them off, which is why I do favor them, even though they are plastic and will be thrown away at the end of the season. Just show you a close-up what I've done. So this is one of the ones I spray painted, and I've gone ahead and I just use zip ties. And then the middle one, the first one I was putting on, I do a double zip tie in an X just to give it a little bit more strength. And then there. Now there are other things you could use, wire, sure, but I take these down at the end of the season. So the zip ties work really well. I just need to come back through then and cut all these guys off. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the rest of them up here, and I will put on some music for you to listen to. This next bit, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this trellis in the middle. Now I could have used something electric, but I just used a hand saw that is designed to cut metal. It does take a lot more time than I had anticipated, but it got the job done. And with that cut, I now can go ahead and put it in with my peas and just a quick securing of the top with a zip tie. You can see the peas there, and then they'll be able to climb up this trellis. It's not super tall, but it'll give them enough height that then I'll just be able to tack them on up there. Yay! On to the next one. And let's get started on the arch trellising. Now these are very awkward to work with. You'll see me struggling a little bit with them. It's not ideal to do it with one person, but as you can see, it can be done, and it does require quite a bit of maneuvering and some strength, because bending these is very difficult. So if you don't think you can do it yourself safely, please have someone help you. So what I need to do now is I just need to zip tie this, and then I take zip ties and I do these together as well. But you can see that once it's all zip tied, that's what it'll look like. I don't actually have the bigger zip ties for these. I gotta pop into town and grab them. So I will zip tie these this evening after I get back. But I am going to go ahead and pop up all the other arches. So long as they're in place, they're not going to jump out of place because the pressure is holding them against the T-posts. So I'm not worried about them jumping out of place. I just need to secure them in place after. The trick to putting a trellis up alone is to make sure you have one corner of it wedged against something, in this case the T-post, before you bring the other side around. So let's show that again. I'm going to get it up onto the bed, wedge it against the T-post, and then bring it around to the other T-post on the other side. And that is how you can easily get it up by yourself. Wedging, pulling, and then doing the second wedge. There you go. As you can see, these are not the easiest to put up alone, but it is doable. I am using hog panels versus cattle panels, so they're a little bit shorter, which is why I'm using 2 of them. In past years, I've done cucumbers and melons on these. This year I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to be doing beans on them. As you can see, they're all up now. So I just will get the zip ties on them, and then I can start planting underneath them. Yay, planting season in Ontario, Canada. This is exciting for me. So there you have it. Arches, trellises over here, and my pea trellises. And that is that. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie all the way up over the arch now. Now I am too short to get those ones in the middle, so I just gotta grab a bucket or something and I'll finish them up. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other 2 now. On the bottom here, I will attach here And that's about as high as I'll go. So that's the bottom, this one. And we'll go to there. If you stretch it any more than here, then it'll pop out on the other side. So I'll just put a zip tie here and a zip tie here to hold it in place. And the same on that side. And then the same on this side. So it'll probably be here and here, since this, well, I might be able to get there. This T-post is off center a little bit on these. And then here and here as well. And then that'll be it. So they're all up. The only thing that I have left to do with these now is I have decorations I put on them. I put a couple wind chimes on the ends and different little things on them to decorate it up and make it pretty in here. But other than that, all these gardens are ready to be planted. Now this section over here, this will be tomatoes. So because we're in Ontario, Canada, tomatoes still won't go out for a bit yet. I don't put them out until either the last full moon in May or the first full moon in June, depending on where it falls, because we always get a frost then. This year, the full moon is falling on June 4th. So until June 4th has passed, the tomatoes and the peppers will not be coming outside. So this is gonna stay empty. But I have gone ahead, I've sowed radish, I've sowed carrots, shallots, onions, those kind of things. They're all in the garden already. Peas, they're in the garden. Celery, all of that kind of stuff. That stuff is all gonna come out to the garden. But the rest of it, the frost tender plants will just be a little bit yet before we're gonna put them out. All right, I've gotten back and I just wanted to show you that I have this trellis. Of course I have to go back and clip all those, but you can see it's all tied up now and this one's done. So just decorations left to do. All right guys, thanks for hanging out with us in the garden this afternoon as we went ahead and put all this stuff. I'm pretty red because it's really hot out here. I'm gonna go in and get a drink and we are going to happily plant all this evening and get the sprinklers on to get it all soaked in. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time on the farm.